The jungle is a paradise of delectable nectar and fantastic fruit. For those that can reach these delights, the jungle provides everything you need, but it takes some special equipment to take advantage of such decadent prizes. But nature can throw all kinds of challenges your way, so there's one bird that carries a multi-tool on the front of its face. It's a lesson in being prepared for anything in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube.
And thank you to Brian for the creation of this week's artwork. It's pretty funny. Check it out. You can find it on Facebook or Twitter at LD Taxonomy, or visit us at ldtaxonomy.com.
We are talking about a colorful jungle bird that follows its nose for fruit. I mean fruit, but more on that later.
Fruit, F-R-O-O-T.
Fruit.
I have Fruit Loops in my house for the first time in a while because my sister was over and she got some Fruit Loops. And man, those are good.
They are good. There's apparently, it's a common podcast sponsor cereal brand, and it's like, it's made of like beans or something, and it doesn't have the sugar or carb content that typical cereal does, and they have a flavor that's remarkably similar to Fruit Loops.
Huh. Well, if you're listening and you represent that, hit us up.
Yeah, and then I'll say the name of it.
Do you know the name? You're just keeping it out so that we can we can advertise it.
Yeah.
Good. It'll help keep the lights on if we land something like that. But we're talking about, if you haven't guessed from all the Fruit Loop talk, we're talking about the toucan, and not
Toucan Sam.
Not necessarily the toucan, the one that looks like Toucan Sam.
Yeah. Well, because Toucan Sam kind of looks like he's in a class of his own.
Well, there are different kinds of toucans, and we are talking about the Toco toucan.
Is there a blue can?
I don't think there's one that's blue, but there are some that have like stripes on their bills. Oh. So they would be closer to Toucan Sam than this one. But yeah, so we're gonna call this Toucan Sam. Obviously, it's a given, but we're also gonna call it the Bill of Flights and Chill Bill, which I'll mention again when we get into the major fact.
Interesting.
Do you get it? Do you get it since you know the major fact?
Yeah.
Cool. Chill Bill. Let's taxonomize this.
Let's do that.
It's in a kingdom you know, love, and are in. And that kingdom is, of course, Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. The class is Aves. The order, Pisciformes. Looks like fish. I don't know what that's what it seems like to me, like form of fish. It's Power Ranger fish. This is the same order as woodpeckers. Yeah, the family is Ramphasticdae.
Ram fast today, ram fast tomorrow. That's just the life of a member of the Fast and the Furious gang.
It's like, hey, Dom, did you ram fast today? Yeah, with my family.
You know it because of family.
Because of Groot. The genus is Ramphastos, which is sounds like a pharaoh. Then the species is Toco. So Ramphastos, Toco.
Instead of Too Fast, Too Furious, they should have called it Ramphastos.
The second one should be Ramphastos. And all they do is just ram cars into things really fast twice. Like it's the middle of the movie. They ram a car fast into something, and then that's also the end of the movie, how they beat the bad guy. But since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show, Critter Groups. And this one's going to be a good one. This is the part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name for a group of this animal? Or what is the term of venery? Or the collective noun? It's all the same. If you saw a group of toucans, and I specifically like birds because they have all kinds of great collective nouns. So, Joe, if you saw a group of toucans, would you say it's A, a killian of toucans, B, a durant of toucans, C, a sowler of toucans, or D, a rim shot of toucans?
A sour, a rim shot.
Sowler.
Sowler?
Uh-huh. Killian, Durant, Sowler, and Rimshot. Sounds like a law firm up until you get to Rimshot.
Yeah. Guess I'm gonna go with Sowler.
Rimshot
sounds more fun. Is that what it's called when is that what the badum tis is called?
Yeah, that's hitting the side of a snare drum.
I'm gonna go with Sowler. Final answer.
The answer was Durant.
Okay. After the person that was running the railroad.
Either a basketball man or a railroad con artist. Yeah, I had fun with this one. I was like, "Ooh, I can make up a bunch of stuff and hide this." I would have been very surprised if you got it.
What is a Durant? Is that anything, or is it just a name?
I'm sure if you Google it, you're just going to get people's names. But yeah.
Durant is a surname of French and English origin.
Yeah, it's a Durant of toucans.
Wow. Really,
you can also,
really diving into the nonsense this time, huh?
You can also call it a flock, but that's not fun. You want to talk about what this thing looks like?
Do you?
Yeah, Are you ready to talk? About
yes,
what this
yes.
Looks like.
I thought you were telling me to talk about it.
Are you prepared?
I have no idea what a toucan looks like.
Good. You are the ideal person for me to describe this to then. So this is a toucan. That's all I have written here. So I guess time to measure up. Just kidding. It is a quintessential toucan. If you think of a toucan, you're probably, and it's not a cartoon, you're probably thinking of this toucan. If I remember right, is there a toucan in George of the Jungle?
Yes, Tuki.
That's dumb. Because they don't live in Africa.
Yeah, well, it's almost as if George of the Jungle himself is dumb.
Almost as if that movie is not supposed to be taken seriously. So yes, it has a passerine-esque shaped body. It's kind of crow-like if you just look at its body. It has jet black feathers all throughout, except for its throat and lower half of its face. It has a Super Nintendo controller-shaped patch that's stark white and has a well-defined border, so it kind of has this panda orca look to it, vibe. It also has a small patch of white feathers on its rump just above its tail feathers and a bright red patch underneath that white patch on the flip side under its tail. But here's where it gets interesting. If you've ever heard of the toucan, you know that its most defining characteristic is eyes. It has black and beady eyes, like a typical bird. And those eyes are ringed with a bright blue circle, and the area around that circle is like a yellowish orange, kind of like it's stained. But for real though, the real star of the toucan's show is the bill. That's the top. It gets top billing. That's the real reason you're listening to this episode. You're like, why does its bill look so weird? So where a normal bird's forehead and face would be, the toucan has this massive bill that juts out. It's shaped like a big crab claw. That was the best thing I could think of when I was looking at pictures of it. The bill is bright orange and yellow, kind of all mixed together, like Slash's signature sunburst Les Paul. And my Ibanez is that color. The upper half is brighter yellow, with the lower half being a deep, rich orange, like a blood orange. And there's a black patch near the end of the top half where it hooks down like an eagle's beak, and a black ring where the bill meets the toucan's head. So it kind of looks like an O-ring that makes sure that none of that toucan goodness leaks out from the seams. Yeah. But now it's time for Know the Difference. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what we called it? Know the Difference?
I think so.
Yeah. So, Joe, do you know the difference between a beak and a bill?
I was just thinking that. I called it a beak, but that seems wrong.
Well, the answer is conflicting. According to ornithology.com, when I saw the Google result, I was like, okay, this is the definitive answer. It must be. And then I clicked on it, and it looks like a hastily thrown together WordPress site. So I don't feel very confident. But it says that there is no difference. The two terms are technically interchangeable.
Oh, good.
And that people tend to use beak as a subset of bills for hooked. Like, beaks are just hooked bills that are used for predatory purposes. But that's just, technically they can all be referred to as bills or beaks. But you're just going to confuse people if you call what's on a duck's face a beak.
Yeah.
Or a platypus's face a beak, and you call what the mouth of like a squid a bill.
It's all just a William, you know?
Yeah, it's all really just billion. So yeah, I think that's painted a pretty good picture of the toucan. It's crow-like in its body, but is it crow-sized?
Let's find out. Welcome to the beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We do have a new Measure Up intro this week.
Yes.
From Nora. She sent in several emails. She sent in, I think, another Measure Up and a animal suggestion. Nice.
Thank you, Nora. We need both of those things.
Oh, did she also do the one where she sent in a Measure Up, but it was like Viva la Critter Groups? Yeah.
Oh, is she the insurrectionist that is part of my coup, my secret coup?
She titled this one French Canadian Measure Up, and then also signed it.
Coup is French. Can you believe it?
She signed it Nora, not an official listener, apparently.
Get it? Yes, apparently not an official listener because Measure Up is is only the favorite part of the episode for official listeners. Non-official listeners can enjoy critter groups like normal people.
Well, without further ado, which is another French word, we're just lousy with French words.
So much French in this episode. We're very cultured and smart.
Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Mesure-moi ça.
I assume that means measure up.
Same.
It could be a horrible insult to the Measure Up institution, for all I know.
The MUI MUI.
Yeah.
The Measure Up Institute of Technology.
Yes. Okay, let's get into it. Thank you, Nora. And
yes, thank you.
I'll allow it. You're an official listener in my book.
And mine.
You concur?
Yes, I concur. Well, because she likes critter groups, of course.
Let's talk length. They are 55 to 65 centimeters, or 21.5 to 25.5 inches. So they're big. They're like raven-sized almost.
Yeah, so it's like a big crow.
Bigger than your average toucan. Yeah. Toucans can come in smaller sizes.
Yeah, they are also called the giant toucan.
So Toco toucans are big.
Yes, they are the biggest toucans, I believe.
So, how many toucan lengths would it take to reach the highest restaurant in the world?
Okay, what does that mean?
Here's a hint. The restaurant is at Chacaltaya Ski Resort in Bolivia. Unfortunately, the resort is barren these days. It was opened in the 1930s, and skiers could enjoy snowy slopes all year round atop an 18,000-year-old glacier. However, by 2009, the glacier was gone, and no tourists were interested in sliding down rocky slopes. You can still get a hot meal there, though, if you'd like to go on the top of a mountain for the the highest restaurant. It's not the tallest restaurant.
It doesn't seem like a great idea to build your restaurant on a glacier, because those things are notorious for not being in the same place for.
No, it's not gone. It's like dead gone. Like it didn't leave. It died. It
They
melted.
do move.
They do, but slowly.
Yeah, but like they move like several feet per year, mostly.
It's technically not on a glacier. Like it didn't move away. The restaurant's not sliding down a mountain.
I guess if it had been on the glacier, then it would have just been destroyed. Or it would just be in some other place now. The restaurant was in Bolivia, and now it's in Paraguay.
Talk about not building your house on the rock.
Okay, so we're talking above sea level.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
See, there's a lot of ways that height works. So yes, sea level.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, normally when you're talking about the height of a mountain or elevation, you're talking about from sea level.
I don't know, 20,000 feet. I know that Everest is like 36,000 feet, so we're just gonna that's my point of reference. So we're gonna go with the answer being 9,600 toucans.
Final answer?
And yes, 9,600.
The correct answer is 8,215 toucans.
Oh, that was not as far off as I thought I was going to be.
The restaurant is at 5,340 meters or 17,519 feet. It's higher than North Base Camp on Everest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pretty high for a restaurant.
I would have assumed that it was in like the Himalayas or like Lesotho or something like that. Just these places that are very high up.
Yeah, and touristy. Let's talk weight. And I have to warn you, this one's insanity. So males weigh 723 grams or a pound and 9.5 ounces.
That's about a pound and a half.
Yeah. How many toucans go into the weight of lions it would take to destroy the sun?
I'm quitting. This is my letter of resignation as co-host of this podcast. I think you can handle it.
Here's a hint. A popular meme format includes a simple 2-image design, and it's like two things with a versus in the middle. So this versus this, who would win? One of these memes was going around. It was going around the internet, and it was 1 trillion lions versus the sun. So a YouTuber called Eclectic with a K, link on ldtaxonomy.com, found that a trillion lions would be barely visible next to the sun and do nothing at all to hinder it. So he crunched the numbers and calculated how many lions in a great ball of lions it would take to crush into a black hole and swallow the sun and destroy the entire solar system.
I don't want to do this.
Since the number is, I don't know what it's called, like trillion, million, whatever. The number the name is unknowable to me. Not true, but I don't know it. Just tell me the decimals. 10 to the power of what?
So, why lions?
Because that was the meme. How many lions would it take to defeat? I guess because maybe, it's like a joke of this meme format, which is commonly like a lion versus a gorilla who would win, or a lion, like it's like animal fights and different things like that.
But why not a bigger animal?
That's what it normally is. But the joke of that, the deconstruction of that meme, or how would a trillion lions defeat the sun? It's like a joke. You're not supposed to think about it. But this YouTuber, by the way, this YouTube channel is probably my new favorite YouTube channel.
You're not supposed to think about it is like the banner, like the motto of memes, of modern humor. Just don't think about it. But unfortunately, with this, I have to think about it. Or I don't. Maybe I just won't. I won't. Let's say the decimal or the exponent it's 42. The answer is 42. The answer to everything is 42, the universe, life, and everything.
42 toucans or 10 to the power of 42?
10 to the power of 42. Wait. That's how many lions. No, that's how many toucans.
Does it even matter?
It doesn't matter. I know the answer would be wildly different, but we're shooting into the dark as into the dark as possible. Is this how many lions it would take to create a black hole? Or
Yes.
how much mass you would need to add to the sun in order to turn it into a black hole?
No, how many lions it would take to make a black hole?
Oh, then the answer is probably like 10 to the 2,000.
10 to the power of 2,000?
10 to the power of 2,000. This is fun.
2,000 zeros?
Yeah. You're not the only one who could be ridiculous.
Okay. Final answer?
Yes.
2,000.
Yeah.
Dang. Toucans.
Yes.
Okay. Correct answer is 2.1 times 10 to the power of 40.
Oh, it was close.
No, you weren't. You were the farthest ever. That's the farthest you've ever been. Just there.
I was close on my first one. 42.
That doesn't count. That wasn't your final answer.
That was I don't know what you're talking about. My answer was definitely 10 to the power of 42.
If it means anything to you, it took 1.8 times 10 to the power of 36 lions.
It doesn't mean anything. None of this means anything to me.
This was such a mess. I'm sure I made a mistake somewhere.
I'm just trying to think of just this planet of just just a bunch of lions writhing. That's actually kind of awful.
The ones in the middle. Well, this planet of lions is a black hole.
The ones in the middle are liquid paste.
They're essentially their constituent molecular parts.
Elements. Yeah, actually, a sun made out of lions would just look like a regular sun.
Yeah.
It just
because it's doing nuclear fusion.
Yes, but probably not as well as it would if it were made out of helium and hydrogen instead of carbon.
Oh well, in the video he talks about what is the molecular makeup of a lion.
Mostly carbon, probably.
Yeah, but it's like similar to like an asteroid. I mean, any organic, anything in nature is going to be similar in its constituent parts. If it's a physical object, that's not necessarily true.
There's a lot of elements out there.
That's true.
In fact, I think they put them all together in some sort of table.
Anyway, watch his videos. They're great. Actually, you shouldn't, because I'm probably going to use his videos again someday.
I'm not allowed to look at the source of all misery and hatred in the world.
They did the math. They did the math is also probably a really good treasure trove for that kind of thing. Which is where
now you, the listener, know how many toucans it would take to create a black hole.
Yeah. Okay.
Impress your friends, if that impresses them.
Now, that might not be true for toucans. If they're... no, because their mass... I don't know. I'm not good at big math. Anyway. I mean, I guess if their mass is the exact... Would an equal weight of toucans be the same mass as an equal weight of lions? Right? It would be. That's what mass is.
Yes, it would be. Mass is... weight is just... is measuring gravity's effect on mass.
Okay. Then yeah. Don't try it, though. You can't. There's not enough toucans.
Do not try to put 10 to the 40 toucans, to the 40th power toucans together in one ball. It will just end disastrously for you.
Well, you'll just run out of toucans at like a 500th of the way there.
A 500, maybe. I don't know. I'm done doing math. Are you ready to talk about fast facts?
Yes, I am.
Whew.
That was a doozy.
Yeah, I've lost brain cells a little bit because of that. All right, let's talk about where they live. I alluded to it earlier, but let me double check because I might be totally wrong.
They live in Bolivia.
Okay, yes, there are no
cats in America.
There are no cats in America. Thank goodness, because that musical was terrible. There are no toucans, official regular toucans in Africa, which is why George of the Jungle is wrong. But there are hornbills in Africa.
Yes,
would have been more zoologically correct. But toucans live in Central and South America. These toucans, in particular, the Toco toucan, lives in not Central America, but in Central South America. So they're just the middle of that continent. Mostly in Bolivia, Peru, Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil. They're actually kind of unique, the Toco toucan, in the fact that they do not like densely wooded jungle areas. They're unique, at least in their genus, the Ramphastos genus. They prefer open areas with like sparsely wooded areas with not like dense forests. They like savannas and plains and mountains and things like that, rather than the jungle. And there are also sparse populations in the Guyanas. I think that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, the Guyanas, over to the east of Venezuela. So what they eat is basically everything. They're omnivorous. They eat everything from fruits and berries to lizards, rodents, small birds, and insects. And after mating, they lay about 2 to 4 eggs, and they're pretty good parents. Birds tend to be better parents than other animals, I've noticed.
Some of them.
Except for like the cuckoo bird whatever bird the cuckoo bird lays its egg in, that's a terrible parent. It's like you have 3 kids and then suddenly one of them is just completely different than all of the other ones, and you're just like, seems fine to me. But at least the mother and father tend to stick around, unlike insects and lots of mammals. But that's all I got for fast facts, because the rest of the facts about the toucan tend to revolve around its primary characteristic.
Indeed. Okay. Let's talk about the major fact. The nose.
Gandalf told us to do that.
He did,
Always
didn't he?
Follow your nose.
Which seems crazy. Was he lying?
Why would he be lying?
Or was he saying... Was this one of those things where something mundane with Gandalf seems mundane, but is actually a calculating move?
He was just telling Mary to follow his nose.
Yeah, like, let's navigate the Mines of Moria despite the fact that I can't remember where to go, just by smelling the less dank air.
He's a wanderer. He's spent his entire several thousand years in Middle Earth just kind of walking around and exploring caves and stuff like that. So this is probably how he gets around. For like, how do I get out of here? I mean, I'm not going to like starve to death or anything like that. I'm an immortal spirit trapped in an old man's body. But I think that the best way is just to kind of, the air smells fresher this way. I think this is the way out. And if it's not, then I'll probably be fine. I have time to figure this out. So
I guess that is not a bad way to go in a cave.
In a cave full of the corpses of dwarves and goblin cities.
Dwarpses.
Exactly.
All right, let's get to work here.
Let's get to work.
So a toucan's beak is probably its most defining feature. It's big, it's colorful, but as is often the case in nature, the toucan's most striking feature may also be its most functional. The beak's first function is foraging. These 8-inch long appendages, which I think can be a lot longer on a toco, but in general, on average, they're useful for plucking fruit off branches in otherwise hard-to-reach places. In fact, their beaks are also serrated like a steak knife or a saw for ripping apart food. The beaks are also used for other purposes, including defense and attracting mates, and also in temperature regulation. Once again, we are talking about a nose that is helpful for personal climate control.
Just like the Saiga. That's why I called it Chill Bill.
Yeah. So, toucan beaks are thin. If you look closely, you can see veins running through it. Having such a large, thin surface area for their blood to run through allows them to cool down in sweltering South American heat. I saw a picture of like a thermal image of a toucan, and it's like white hot near the base of their beak. So it's just spewing that O-ring is leaking heat.
So it's the worst. It needs to be replaced.
It's doing it by design, though. So at night, though, the temperature can drop. To avoid losing heat through the night, they'll tuck their beaks up along their bodies and sleep with it basically on top of them. And if you look at a picture, it looks like the bird is essentially folded in half.
I did not see a picture of them sleeping.
Yeah, I had to specifically search toucan sleeping. And it's cute, so there's a ton of pictures of it.
Yeah.
Folded. So the beak is also both incredibly strong and surprisingly lightweight. It makes up 1/3 of the bird's body length and only 1/20th of its weight. So despite its weight allowing the bird to maintain its ability to fly, their beaks are also super durable. An article in asknature.org, which I think is a website all about like taking ideas from nature and applying it to engineering and science and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They say the beak's solid outer shell sandwiches within it a closed cell foam-like structure made of struts, which together with thin protein membranes enclose variably shaped air spaces. The solid shell layer is built of overlapping hexagonally shaped thin plates of keratin protein held together by an organic glue. All that is to say, it's built Ford tough.
Yeah, don't they make Fords with organic glue?
Yeah. But essentially, it's like, this is reminding me a little bit of the, what is it? The Venus's flower basket?
Oh, yeah.
Where like there's specific shapes. Was it a hexagon? Hexagonal shapes?
I think so.
Is a hexagon the perfect shape for structure?
It seems to be because it's like that's what like honeycombs and stuff.
Yeah. Interesting.
Possibly. Gosh, every time I type in Venus's flower basket, I just get a bunch of Animal Crossing pictures.
So this structure makes their beaks useful for defense and able to take significant impacts. The article goes on to suggest that this structural design could be integrated into cars to make them more crash resistant without sacrificing fuel economy by adding weight.
Yeah, I thought they already did that.
They made a Toucan car?
Or just had that like hexagonal structure,
design?
like honeycomb structure in parts of the car that needed to, and crumple zones.
Maybe they do. But they, I recently saw a thing where a Toucan beak did break, and they 3D printed it for him. And it worked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be the worst. Having a beak break.
Well, he can't eat anymore. He can't, like, grab things.
Yeah.
The top part of the bill broke a third of the way down.
I think they do the same thing with rhinos that have their horns removed by poachers but not killed.
Yeah.
The conservationists will 3D print a new horn.
I can't imagine that that's useful. As useful.
A 3D printed horn?
Yeah.
Although if it's made with the right material, then
it's also a lot less essential because a rhino can still eat and, you know.
Yeah, it might be for sexual selection though.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Then give him the longest horn ever. But
we can manipulate the adaptation of rhinos just by replacing their horns with bigger horns.
Yeah, if you want the weak rhinos, if you want pocket rhinos, just give tiny rhinos the biggest horns.
Yes. If we want teacup rhinos, that's how we need it. That's what we need to do.
But I also imagine that there's an element of ritual combat.
I don't think they actually gore each other, though. At least not very often. You would think that if they fought a lot, they would be... And we covered the white rhino, and I think we talked about them not being as belligerent as they look like they are.
Good, because there's not a ton of them left.
Not as belligerent as Paul Giamatti at the beginning of The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's all I got for the major fact, but we also forgot to mention they have translucent skin.
Do they? I didn't know that.
Yep. Like towards the
Tough to
back
tell.
of their neck, I think, is where you could see it when you like pulled back their feathers. But it's like completely see-through.
Huh. Now I gotta look at a picture of this.
You could also have them as pets, but I would not recommend it because it looks like they bite a lot and they have those serrated beaks.
Giant serrated beaks, yes. Yeah, a lot of people have them as pets.
If you look at a skeleton of a toucan, it looks silly because it is a skeleton of a bird and just a giant toucan beak coming off of it.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, these things look prehistoric. It's one of those animals like the giraffe where it's like, this is just so weird.
The more you think about it, yeah. It's like the word fruit when you spell it with two O's. It just kind of deconstructs the whole thing and it loses its meaning.
Yeah.
When you just start saying fruit over and over and like how silly of a word that is.
All words are silly if you think about them long enough. All right. Is that all? You got anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, that was the Toucan Sam. So for you out there in Podcastia, use your bill to keep you chill. Expand your diet. And always follow your nose, like the Toucan Sam here in life, death, and taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, thanks for listening to the episode. Just a few quick things. As always, reviews and social media engagement are greatly appreciated, but recommending the podcast to friends is the best way to help us grow. If you'd like some LDT flavored merch, check out teespring.com/stores/taxonomytees. That's it. Thanks for listening all the way to the end.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
I just sent you a picture of the truth behind toucans.
Oh, that needs to go up on the Twitter feed page thing. Oh, it looks like one of those Disney Star Wars porg.
Yeah, it does look like a porg.
Looks like a porg. Oh, I'll never forget this. It's up there with the blobfish Slender Man mask.